Welcome back, everyone. It's Stray Faye, here with another episode of Cafe Enchante. We are starting Ignis's fourth and final chapter. In the last episode, we left off at quite the cliffhanger. Or quite the climax, I'd say. It's revealed that Ignis is the big bad monster that we have to worry about in this route. He is Vanar, the destroyer of worlds. Sounds very, very dramatic. But yeah, apparently he is descendant of a really ancient, powerful beast of Bestia who has a unique characteristic of being able to eat. And thus tries to devour everything. And in the last episode, he went completely mad. So he did snap out of it, but I don't know if he's gonna stay sane. I guess we'll just have to find out. Alright, let's start. Thousands of years ago, a great calamity ravaged all of Bestia. One day, in a frozen place where ferocious beasts lived, suddenly, out of nowhere, pesky beings called humans began to appear. Most of them perished from the unforgiving climate or were helpless to the demonic beasts, but a slim portion survived. However, back then, in Bestia, before the land was sealed by snow and ice, further into the distant past, there existed an enormous flaming wolf who was larger than any mountain. They called him the world devourer, Vanar. In those days, Vanar was fabled to be a lord among beasts, capable of devouring the world. To stave off demise from his insatiable appetite, the beast was put into a deep and indefinite hibernation. But sadly, a bunch of humans came and woke the big monster up. As a result, the awakened Vanar went on a massive rampage to fill his empty belly. Neither the human nor beast stood a chance. Anyone who got in the big bad wolf's way was devoured without warning. In particular, Vanar developed a taste for human flesh. He loved it so much he couldn't get enough. At least, for a little while. Sadly for the big bad wolf, humans with their superior brains formed an alliance with the tribe of beasts. While they paid an immense sacrifice, they managed to subjugate Vanar. I mean, are they really that smart if they woke it up in the first place? However, Vanar passed his legacy, his vicious, fiery appetite, to his descendants. These people became known as the Venator, wolves with the blood of the heretic of doom. Naturally, fearing another incident, the beast tried to exterminate the Venator, but the Venator only need blood to rampage, thus the beast could not stop them. With little choice, they were chased off to remote lands with another clan, the Tigress, as their guardians. Eventually, these people would die out. Weaklings stranded helplessly, awaiting their own deaths. All this because of Vanar. This is what instilled the survival of the fittest culture, the predetermined will to wage war, at the heart of Bestia. Okay. Then, after several thousand years, in other words, the present day, as time passed, so too did the memory. The incident was long since forgotten. The Venatar were thin in numbers from persecution. Bestia's lands were reduced to a battleground where the strong always conquered the weak, and it remains so to this day. Fighting, killing, and spilling blood. Almost seems like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like they're trying to stop it by killing it, but then they end up just waking it up because of the killing. That's what woke up the walking disaster. With the blood of Vanar running through his veins, Ignis. Nobody, not a single person knew the truth. And that's that. And I guess this is Dromie speaking? Because Dromie's like the only one who knew. Well, anyway, back to Katone's perspective. I guess they got back safely. Poor Katone's like traumatized. She got like her arm. A piece of her flesh was bitten off. Cute. That fateful day never left me. Dromie's teaser of a story about the history of Vanar just wouldn't leave my head. Vanar, an ancestor of Venatar, like Ignis that nearly destroyed the world, before through predation. A gigantic life-devouring wolf that craved all forms of life. Sorry. Afterward, the werecat was put up no resistance and was apprehended by Canis easily. They sent him to the GPM. Ow! Each time I revisited the memory, the gash on my arm, wrapped under several thick bandages, ached in immense pain. Several days had passed. After we somehow managed to return home, I was immediately taken to a hospital. Of course, over the course of days, my wound was treated. Fortunately, the injury hadn't damaged any of the nerves, but well, that's lucky. There was no ignoring the big hole in my arm, all thanks to his fangs. Although I got to avoid surgery, the scar would stay with me my whole life, at least according to the doctors. But there was someone in far worse condition than me, an angel marred by heavy injuries, and I was very ill, almost died. I was like, poor Il. Every time he goes to Bestia, something bad happens to him. Il had been in a coma the whole time, resting in his bed in an empty room at Enchante. He hadn't woken up once. And after Ignis had lost control, doing something which could never be undone, Maizen and the others placed a barrier over the shrine, along with the history of Vanar, and sealed them away. He made no effort to resist. I guess it would not be safe to bring him back to the cafe. He hung his head low, a husk of himself. Everyone had gathered at the cafe, recounting the sequence of events to one another. Naturally, the conversation was a solemn one, and even Karya, who wasn't there, became pale. Now that she's out of treatment, we finally have the chance to sit and talk everything over. Not that it changes anything, of course.
Indeed. Any updates to how Il is doing?
Miser shakes his head back and forth quietly. Having watched the angel from the morning until the time we were gathered, I guess it couldn't take Il to a human hospital. Also, Miser and Il seem to have like this like relationship. I can't help but like ship them together, like the demon lord and the angel. I don't know, just like my headship going on here. He's in rough shape. The wound's closed and they open right back up, over and over. I have no clue when you'll come to. What? Il's wounds are supposed to heal as soon as we return to the human world. He mentioned as much to me in Bestia. Miser picks up on my disappointment and continues in a hushed tone of voice. Normally he would heal up and be ready to fly at a moment's notice, but his wounds are too severe. Combined with the fatigue of that earlier trip, his body hasn't had much of a break. I suppose in human terms, his body hasn't much gas left in the tank. Honestly, there's no telling how much worse it'll get. No way!
That is enough to indicate the state of Ignis' mind when he went on his rampage. If, at the time, you, Katone, had not shielded him, Il would already...
He would have been eaten by Ignis, just like the other beasts. Is that what you're saying? My shoulders tremble out of reflex. Simply put, what we thought were nothing more than rampages from Ignis have proven to be something much, much more serious. A devourer of worlds. If he's a descendant of Vanar, we're talking ancestral instincts. Yeah, it was probably through atavism. Atavism, referring to genetic inheritance and appearance of traits held by ancestors after skipping many generations. Atavism can also refer to ancestor reversion, kind of like what Karya has. Sorry. I probably should mute myself every time I cough. Because the last episode took a little toll on me. He inherited his incredible raw power because the Vanar blood flows in his veins. He's the only Venator who can eat.
And to awaken that instinct, Dromie pulled the strings from the shadows. Ergo.
That little... The moment his name is mentioned, Karya clenches fists in frustration. You sure fooled us. His smarmy and jokey face was all a big front. Dromie was almost too eager to help us, all the while leaking info to the Minotaur and other beasts. By getting him to fight more beasts, he triggered Ignis' hunger by constantly exposing him to the scent of blood.
He only spoke of the danger of Vanar to the Minotaur, while conveniently failing to mention just how to awaken the instinct.
The instinct was this dictionary definition. Predation instinct. The true danger held by Ignis, smelling the scent of blood, takes him a step closer to turning into Vanar, though. Yeah, even though Dromie's like telling the Minotaur, oh, you gotta stop Ignis, gotta help. It's actually just making things worse. Beasts have little mercy for the weak, not to mention species different from their own. But they look after their own. They were likely acting to protect their children and mates and tried to kill Ignis without giving it much thought. One thing explained why the Minotaur had behaved in such a reckless way. Turns out Mikado had already uncovered the thing eating away at their sanity. It was a drug, the origins of which were unknown. Traces of it were found administered to the Minotaur. It warped non-human minds. Now, how did Dromie get a hold of something like that? This fish. This is all fishy. I don't think Dromie's the only traitor here. The culprit was most undeniably Dromie. Dromie's second definition. He is actually a fanatic of Calamity, trying to return to Ignis to Vanar through predation. His clownish small fry behavior was all an act. Like a weird cult follower. Which also means the person who flung me into the gate to Bestia had to be him as well. I thought this too, like it was just super obvious. Like they like crossed off the Minotaur as like a culprit because they're too big to fit through the door, and like Dromie was the only one who fit the bill. The forgotten item at the time was an outright lie. My guess is that he passed through the GPM's wormhole and then slipped into Enchante's through the gate. From there, he did his deed, hoping to kill me and make it look like an accident. He didn't finish the job, he just left you there. Hoping the elements to do the job, I guess. Damn it. That puny. What did he want?
I have a guess concerning his objective. He said as much himself.
Come on! This pathetic wasteland is ready to blow! Your time has come, Ignis Carbunculus! Or should I say, the Reborn! The World Devourer! Doom Incarnate Vanar!
Dromie's goal was likely to return Ignis to his ancestor. In other words, to resurrect Vanar.
But why? Although I did little more than squeak weakly, I might add, I finally managed to join the conversation. What's the meaning of it all? Yeah, Dromie's not that dumb. Every beast in Bestia would be devoured, him included. Frankly, it's a lose-lose situation. Out of consideration for me, Miser picked up where I left off, helping me make my point. While we're on the subject, Rindo, has Dromie ever confessed to anything? Come on, when we interrogated him, he carried on like it was no big deal. All smiles. The event had been clearly upsetting Rindo. We'll continue to interrogate him, but I can't promise we'll extract anything worth bringing up. I think Dromie is just like a little unhinged. I think it's just a circumstance of where he grew up. He just saw so much killing and he just wanted everything to just burn. A little bit unhinged in the head. Hey, so that's it then? What does that mean for Ignis? Don't tell me Dromie is getting everything he wanted. Is he gonna become Vanar? In the past, Karia's stubbornness was known to clash with Ignis's, so the two rarely saw eye to eye, but the situation felt so dire, even Karia expresses concern for Ignis. Yeah, Karia is like a kind of a neat character. He's like connected to so many of the like other protagonist boys. Like he has like a good relationship with like Canis because they're both fairies, Ignis just because fire and ice, and then Rindo because Rindo saved him. So he's like a good in-between character. As for Karia's question, the adults in the room, Miser and company, shifted in their seats. With this incident, Ignis not only preyed upon his kin, he murdered them in cold blood. Now he's got a taste for human flesh too. He's more or less fulfilled all of the requirements to awaken as Vanar.
Yes, at this rate, Ignis will.
No way! Kari was incensed, frustrated by the situation Ignis was left in. I, on the other hand, could hardly utter an opinion of my own. I needed to say something. Something. Think! But despite my best efforts,
Regardless, there must be something we can do on Ignis's behalf. We must look at all options at our disposal. However, Katone, perhaps it is better for you to rest in your room in the meantime.
huh?
That wound on your arm has not healed, not to mention emotional wounds.
He means your heart. If listening to us talk about Ignis's fate is painful, or even worrisome, then no, you don't have to force yourself. We'll handle what to do from here. An owner can't tend to a shop without adequate rest. As I feared, they read my mood on my face. Whenever Ignis's name came up in conversation, my body trembled. Kari looked back at me. His eyes traveled between my eyes and my arm, inferring enough to form an opinion. I knew there was more to it, though I noticed they avoided talking about actual details, nothing about what really happened. It was true. My presence here was an obstacle to the more pertinent conversation at hand. Yeah, thanks. So I thanked them for their responses, apologizing for taking up their time. I bowed my head and headed up to my room. As soon as the door shut behind me, I plopped onto my bed and took Koro in my arms. Cute? Oh my god, this picture. This is like... I don't know. It's like something we couldn't really get in Canis' route, or like facial expressions. So... yeah, Ignis has a lot of expressions. Not out of sadness, but fear. Oh, all that love just turned into fear. Ignis. Each time I heard his name, something reminded me of him. The fear of being devoured possessed me and I trembled. Until that tragedy, I cherished him. I never once felt intimidated by him. I wanted for us to be together. Crying here into my pillow would do nothing. I knew that much, but... why? Why did this have to happen, Ignis? Cute. Fear pulled tears from me like a conductor. All I could do was cry out in grief to mourn the injustice of it all. Afterward, according to Miser, who had stopped by my room to brief me on the rest of their talk, they agreed they needed to strengthen the barrier there and encase the shrine, plus Ignis. To do that, however, Miser and the others had to find some way to heal Il in his current state. if we could do so much as take him to the heavenly world, he would heal just fine. But fallen angels weren't exactly welcome. Normal angels hunt fallen angels for sport, and it wasn't worth the risk on Ill's life. But it was good enough as a last resort. In the meantime, the regulars searched high and low for ways to improve his condition. As for Rindo, he was given the sole pleasure of interrogating Dromie. However, even if either endeavor came to something, neither did anything help Ignis directly to help manage his dangerous powers. Alright, Ignis Carbunculus, third definition. Due to atavism, he has the possibility to become the Wolf of Calamity, Vanar. Despite wishing not to kill, the scent of blood makes him go wild, and many demon beasts fall prey to his hunger. Oh, okay, or Ignis's perspective is locked up in the shrine. I'm guessing all these little magic circles are Miser. I sit in the icy shrine all banged up. I got nothing to do but hang my head and listen to my thoughts echo. After that howl of despair, that bastard Dromie had the balls to come up to my face and tell me, "Vanar, ancestor of the Vinatar," he said, "that I had inherited his blood, which makes me a world-devouring monster. Apparently, I'm a legendary beast reincarnate, one that makes me hunger for flesh." The idea is so repulsive, I want to gag, but nothing comes out of my stomach. In other words, I've already digested their flesh and blood, and absorbed it all into my body. The thought sinks in. I can't help but feel disgusted by my own body, which until now I had been proud to show off as a symbol of my strength. I see. No wonder they call me a monster. It goes beyond eating food for humans. I devoured my fellow beasts, people that could have been kin, while they lived and breathed. Weaklings, stranded helplessly, awaiting their own deaths. All this because of Vanar. This is what instilled the survival of the fittest culture, the predetermined will to wage war at the heart of Bestia. Why is the place I call home surrendered to such cruelty? If there was somebody long ago who's the root of all this bloodshed, I will forever forsake him. Oh, it turns out to be himself. Who did I think I was, with my no-killing pact? Man, talk about being a hypocrite. I ran my mouth condemning everybody on my soapbox, but I was the worst of them all. Get a load of the Devourer of Worlds. Every time I see the mural, I'm petrified. I know that one day, that drawing will look less like a drawing and more like a mirror. Am I destined to become Vanar no matter what? No, I won't let that happen. All I have to do is avoid blood at all costs, and do not eat any. Is that his stomach? Until now, I had no real need for food, so any cravings I had were superficial, but my stomach let out a terrible growl in the darkness, a desperate, hungry cry. Gut! I bent backwards and hugged my arms around my torso. I clenched my teeth, fighting the desire. But it was useless. I must eat! I barked into the darkness. I'm hungry. In times like these, the one to feed me was... Katone! But when her face came to mind... my hunger worsens, and I can't help but gulp uncontrollably. Her flesh was perfectly delicious. A monster hides in my brain. It's part of me. When I picture it, it laughs as her blood drips from my mouth. I stop breathing. No, I can't! I can't disrespect her memory by thinking of something like that! I grip my stomach and continue to suffer in denial, surrounded by darkness. But... in a way, I was too late. Katone? Her flowing blood. I can never forget the look of fear in her eyes as they burned into mine. More importantly, I can't believe I attacked the person I most wanted to protect. I became a monster. I devoured part of her body. As if that wasn't bad enough, I hurt one of her most favorite guests ill. Hell, I tried to eat him. Katone trusted me when no one else would. She vouched for me. She really believed I'd be worth it. But it was all for nothing. I gave in to my wretched hunger. I betrayed her. I'm sure I never get to see that smile of hers glow again. If that's the case, it would be better for me just to kill myself. I kicked the idea for a bit in my head until I decided to use my own fists to do the deed. But as soon as I placed it over my heart to rip it out of my chest, I'm dominated by another feeling. A rabid, beastly hunger, one that chips away at me until I satisfy its craving. Damn it! Oh, come on, man! Am I not allowed to die either? Nobody in their right mind would want a monstrosity like me to go on living. What is this? In a remote territory, through the omens of an awakened calamity, a promise from fate about a tragic, bloody unrest. Yet, out in a nearby desolate ice field, the calamity was a mere passing thought. A small tribe of nomadic beasts struggled to survive in the harsh desert. Oh, Foxboy. A young beast with lanky arms patrolled the outskirts of the village, and he turned all of a sudden at the sound of footprints. He lowered his body, assuming an offensive stance, expecting to see a band of raiders. What he saw instead were beasts even smaller than himself. They had long ears, so malnourished they could snap on contact. The young beast regarded them as no threat. He began to ponder. Were they refugees from a random attack? Have they fled here looking for safety? The boy began to pity the small creatures. However, he hesitates to call them of his own accord. Instead, he chooses to observe them, losing himself in thought until... Oh, it's Bunny Girl! We haven't seen Bunny Girl in a while! Got the two floofers together. One of their rank walks towards them, crunching snow beneath her tattered hide shoes. Hey you! Over there! Huh? Me? Is anyone else out here with you? The girl exhaled haughtily through her nose. She was incredibly forward, stronger than her frail demeanor had suggested. The boy shot upright to maintain decorum, but he had no intention of threatening her. We were chased out of our camp. We've got nowhere to go. Would it be okay for us to start building a camp here? I promise we won't cause no trouble. The truth was revealed. They were driven from their territory and searched for a new place to call home. So long as they were considerate of their neighbors and caused no trouble, it was fine. Seemed awfully sincere to the boy. Survival in the Badlands was brutal. Raiders and murderers pounced on any prey too vulnerable to look after its own. But these beasts seemed different. If they continued to wander, he thought, it'd be a matter of time until they were goners. He nodded immediately. I can't make that decision. I gotta go back to my village and ask the elder. Okay, let's go and ask. Huh? Go on, lead the way. We're the strangers around here after all. His first impression, it seemed, were off. The boy began to think he had mistaken her lack of consideration as confidence. Regardless, as representative of his people, he led the two of them to the elder. Both their feet trudged the dense, knee-high snow towards the village. They shared the burden of their silence on their solemn trek until... Hey! Got any tips we should know about if we settle here? Couldn't tell if she was unable to endure the silence or if she was simply bored, but he humored her and attempted to break the ice. He stuck out his tongue and thought. Only one thing came to mind, especially for beasts of their stature. You'll probably be fine out here. There's a firewolf stronghold that way, but a big icy mountain keeps things in here and things in there. Don't you think that's risky? Seems a little strange to live so close. I hope the rocks keep you all safe. You don't look like much, but maybe there's a fighter in you. If you must know, it's because at some point, we were just like you. Tribe without anywhere else to go. There is something else besides the icy mountain. Something protecting us. Protecting you? The young girl blinked in confusion and the boy became animated. Enthusiasm glows in his eyes. You ever heard of Ignis? He's the strongest beast in all of Bestia. It's him. He always comes to visit us. He keeps our village safe. Thanks to him, somehow, we've managed to see more days. The boy patted the top of his head, reliving when his hero patted him on the same spot all those days ago. The warmth stuck with him all this time. He found strength in the memory. He is Oh. It's weird that we're having a choice for the fox boy, not Katone. Ignis is... I'd say he's really kind. He's cool too, but... he's kind. He's really kind, isn't he? I mean, sure, he kinda looks scary. But a while ago, he read my head. The girl watched the boy's face turn red, and she scoffed and averted her gaze. I don't get how you could admire him. He's just too soft. Haven't you heard of his reputation? He's rude and brash and causes trouble wherever he goes. Do you know him? I know of him. Actually, we've met. The boy guessed to himself how. Seems likely that this young girl was saved by the very same beast, the so-called strongest in Bestia. Real beast girl. A weak demon beast girl who found out that Ignis isn't killing like before. And is also owing her life during search of Koro's parents. While not upfront about her feelings, she does seem to be thankful to Ignis. Okay, Ignis has done a lot of good in between his rampages. This is kind of nice to see. Like, there's still a lot of people he helped. However, afraid to draw more of her ire, the boy kept quiet, expecting a rebuttal from her when he were to mention his guess. The boy was sharp, and in a short time span, he managed to see her for who she was. I want to see him again. He hasn't shown up lately. Where could he be? Now that you mention it, I haven't heard any rumors about him fighting other beasts. True. As the girl said, the boy had noticed this too. His strength was undeniable, rendering the fear of losing him to battle to just that, a mindless fear. I can't put my finger on it exactly, but I hope Ignis is, wherever he is okay. Don't even worry about it. First off, if anything happened to him, all of that is his business. For weaklings like us, that's all out of our hands. Okay, that was a neat little intermission scene. All right, we got Mr. Rindo's perspective now. Several days had passed since the band of Enchante regulars commenced our plans. The GPM headquarters, including all of its higher-ups, shuttled to and from the meetings on how to deal with Dromie. Through it all. Oh, it's Rindo. Okay, this is Rindo. I was like, well, where are we? This is some sort of surgery room. I was there, stuck in an interrogation room. This is an interrogation room. This looks like a surgery room. Or maybe a torture room. I don't know. In all truth, I was starting to become fed up with the runarounds the kid kept giving me. Dromie looks pretty pleased. The maestro himself, the chaotic prince responsible for this hellish vortex before me, was restrained with non-human bindings. He whistled nonchalantly to my chagrin. Early on, he dished his small fry act and revealed his true impish self, dodging each question with a quip or a quack. Don't take it from me. Mikado also sat in the interrogations, driving himself and his assistant mad, as the latter grimaced from his side. Good grief! I got permitted you to use the wormholes as you pleased as a gesture of friendship. And you chose to betray me? I don't need an x-ray to see that you've got no heart. Isn't that right, Ku?
Betray you? Hardly. I think you're being a little harsh, don't you think, Doc? Not the wormhole's fault. You laid out those rules from the start. I would have followed them to the letter.
His ability to ship flame was impressive. But I sighed, realizing that I had lost count of how many of Dromie's games I sat through. How are you so calm all this time? Is it a self-preservation thing, or do you really not care what happens to you?
What? But I haven't done anything to trouble the human world, have I? The Minotaurs came charging here to the human world of their own free will. I didn't tell them to jump into the wormhole. As far as I'm concerned, I've done nothing. Aren't you wasting your time?
I clicked my tongue, betraying my position. Of course, he was right. Dromie may have been the mastermind. He set things into motion, that much is true. But I couldn't pin any of those things on him to get a real charge in the human world. With this, even upper management realized he was a special case, and we needed an alternative to squeeze the truth from him. With the tragedy of Bestia was within the legal jurisdiction of Bestia alone, it was impossible to charge him for that. The lad was sly, but he knew this much.
Oh, by the way, about the wormholes. You know how they happen to connect to your world? I had nothing to do with that, Kay. It's all one big coincidence, you see. So strange they all appeared out of nowhere. But thankfully, I made good use of them.
Dear assistant, what do you think? Is he telling the truth? His vitals seem to indicate so.
Well, there you have it. Now, how about freeing me from these chains?
I don't know, if you're, like, a really good liar, like, don't, like, lie detection devices not detect that. Like, if you're really good at lying to the point that you believe it, I feel like Dromie's one of those people. He lifted his arms, poised and pitiful. Denied. You have something up your sleeve. I can't help but wonder what else you are scheming, apart from turning Ignis into Vanar. So I'm afraid I can't release you. But in the back of my mind, I knew time was almost out. Soon I would have to relinquish custody of Dromie for lack of evidence. I decided it was time I loosened the tie to make the most of our time together. Dromie, what's in it for you? Why the blind devotion to Vanar? Why go through the effort of reviving him, knowing that he'll just devour you too?
What? That's... Well, it's obvious. It'd be an honor. And a cool one to boot.
What? His answer took a moment to register. I thought I misheard him, but... Mikado, and much to my surprise, his assistant were both catatonic, so I knew I hadn't imagined the response he gave. Dromie, meanwhile, was unperturbed by our reaction and began to speak sternly. At first, it was about Ignis. No, not Ignis, he clarified. Vanar, and how his past led him to worship the heretic of doom. Now then, time for one of Dromie's history lessons. Or should I say, Vanar's history lessons. Since my life is nothing compared to the majestic tale of the World Devourer.
But enough with the digressions. As I mentioned before, tigers like me are also descendants of Vanar.
Oh, okay.
We were ordered to monitor the Venator, so we huddled up with them in uncharted regions. Fast forward to now, Vanar's just a memory. All my people remember is that we got tangled up with the Venator and got crap for it. Anyway, this is my story.
Oh.
When I was a kid, my village was attacked. Everyone I knew was dead, or worse. It was the first time I saw anything like it. In other words, it was the first time I witnessed Bestia's cruel hierarchy at work. It was, well... It took me a while to get over the sight. Some things you never forget. Never. What was it now? A guy can only take so much. Huh? Why was this so shocking to me? Wasn't it okay to question it all? Supremacy determined only in battle. It sounded good in theory, doesn't it? A platonic ideal of the world's best warrior. But of course, reality was disappointing. It was an endless cycle of massacres, chances for the strong to bully the weak. That was the world I lived to see, the last of my kind. I was pretty cute back then, too. The Venator took me in, since our stronghold closely bordered theirs. They raised me as one of their own. That's where I met my bro. Big Bro always looked out for others, but he had his hands full with me since I had no other relatives. Oh. A certain incident happened around that time. At first, I thought to myself, oh man, another boring massacre. I didn't give it much thought. But then, I witnessed a true calamity. That's right, it was my bro, Ignis, who lost control and awakened his Vanar instinct. The Minotaurs and even his firewolfkin, all of them, were devoured in a matter of minutes. It's also clear to me, even now. Such overwhelming power. He hunted his prey, chomped him, and swallowed him up in one gulp. He was soaked in blood, ascending to his throne as the greatest beast to ever live. It was a monumental step for beast kind. What beast could live to see more glorious days, so as long as any of us could live? The sight mesmerized me so that I totally forgot how bad my head was hurt.
Dromie got a little bit too many head injuries.
The spectacle of such doom was enough to entertain me for hours.
Also, okay, I can't see like the background.
Boy, I was lucky. My bro returned to normal and passed out right after, sparing me from being eaten. So nobody ever got to find out exactly what happened on that fateful day. I covered up all the traces. Once things settled down, I started to research what kind of ancestral traits my big bro had. And I found a shrine once maintained by the Tigress people. Proof of Vanar's existence was chronicled. I put the pieces together, realizing that my bro wasn't just a Venator, but also had the traits which set him apart from his kin. But I had to remember, my bro Ignis was nothing compared to Vanar. Beasts nowadays were just mean bullies whose predatory instincts were dull from the lack of a real challenge. That's why. The Doom. I want to meet Vanar. That beast is the only one worth standing atop Bestia's summit as the world's best warrior. I want to see the strongest beast in history and devour his competition, without fear, without mercy. In order to fulfill my dream, I carried out my plan in secret. One day, I talked myself through the plan, but plucky Koro overheard me swimming quietly around the shrine.
Neither Mikado nor myself could do anything but sit dumbfounded at what he just said. It was, in other words, idolatry, much like a child admiring a blown-up version of a television character. Although his obsession was no doubt childish, Dromie connived his deadly plan with no hesitation, all to resurrect Vanar. He seemed to convince himself that being devoured was worth it all in the end. His devotion, as an esoteric and trivial, it all seemed to me, left a deep impression. In short, I had a thing left to say. You're insane. Mikado flashed a brief smile, perhaps echoing my sentiment for my eyes only. That's crazy! How could you resist opening up to my precious coup?
What? Why in the world would I be interested in your doll? Oh, but ill. Man, that's someone I can't say I envy. Aren't angels, like, invincible or whatever? What would happen if I were to eat one? Wish I could have seen it for myself. Oh, don't tell me. Do you think wings would sprout on his back?
Dromie loved to laugh at his own jokes. He cackled so hard I thought he'd snap. But all of a sudden, he dropped the act.
Even so, because that damn girl got in the way, I couldn't see how things went down in the end. Seriously, that woman and Enchante are such a nuisance. Ever since my bro became a regular there, he took a break from fighting. Well, I guess she had some use. She gave him a taste of her arm. Maybe the end justifies the means.
You. I realized I could no longer keep quiet. Ignis looked after you ever since you were a snot-nosed orphan. And that lady was nothing but kind to you, you foul beast, inviting you as her very own guest at Enchante. Now then, who the hell do you think you are? My brows furrowed, one step away from...
I mean, sure, I got a lot of respect for my bro. I admire him a bunch, especially as the future Vanar. But that woman, and even myself, are just fodder to my bro. Prey waiting to be eaten. Nothing more, nothing less.
He was deranged, completely oblivious to what he was saying or what any of it meant. Wait! Assistant! Where are you going? I have determined that any further interrogation of this clown would be useless. I request to leave at once. Request? But you're already halfway through the door! Well, I can't say I blame him. I'm not sure how much more of this drivel I can stand to hear. In all truth, I had not been tasked with interrogating the little rat. I would have let him rot inside that cell. I gathered that Dromie shared my disinterest with how the interrogations were going.
How nice. Just between you and me, being cooped up in this room for so long is starting to make me cuckoo.
You already are cuckoo, Dromie.
So, I think it's time I took my leave.
What? What? The entirety of GPM's headquarters shook in a manner not unlike an earthquake. What? What's going on? What? The tumultuous sensation rocked the petite Mikado, who fell over. I felt my phone vibrate in my pocket as panic began to set in. I look at the caller ID, letting out a sigh as I recognize my subordinate. The timing of the call, coinciding with the bizarre quake, intensified my worry. I immediately picked up the call. This is Rindo. What happened? Chief, this is bad. Underground. There's a wormhole underground connecting right to Bestia. There's too many. Ah! I pulled the phone from my ear as my agent cried out in agony, but I had heard more than enough. Then, a cold sweat drips from my brow and I hear a bell ring in my head. I realize the gravity of our situation. Mikado, we need to get out right. What the heck is going on? By the time I tossed my smartphone into my pocket to lead Mikado out, I saw a pack of minotaurs charging to the entrance, standing shoulder to shoulder. Minotaurs? Where'd they come from? Gah! I put Mikado behind me, acting as a shield as I pointed my weapons at the angry bulls. The door swung behind them. It didn't take me long to realize it was...
Humans are so stupid!
Dromie, freed from his binding, stood behind the minotaurs, grinning maniacally.
Man, you're dense! You should have closed down the wormhole as soon as you realized I was the mastermind. I mean, didn't you expect something like this to happen? Although, your stupidity worked out in my favor. Guess I should thank you for being the worst captor in history.
As he taunted us, I noticed Dromie was holding a phone. Don't tell me. I went to check my pocket only to find... the phone, which I thought was safe in my pocket only moments ago, was in his hand. When did you...
Huh? Don't tell me you're shocked. Sheesh. You underestimate me too much.
I see. Looks like Ignis' self-proclaimed little brother has come to pay Enchante a proper visit.
I have to admit that I'm impressed. We reached the gate to Enchante without noticing him at all.
When it comes to ducking and running, no one's better. The guy's a prodigy. Shoot, even I forget now and then. How could I let him slip from notice? Dromie was a marvel, capable of tricking humans and non-humans without batting an eyelash. The perfect con man. But I knew there was only one reason Dromie would steal my phone. Only one. You don't want to be calling Enchante, do you, punk? I barked out madly across the room, and the ground shook as the minotaurs began their menacing approach.
Okie dokie. Try not to get trampled by my furry friends, okay? As for me, in order to resurrect Vanar for good, I gotta fetch him the Last Supper.
Damn it! Wait, Dromie! But it was a cry to the void, and Dromie answered with a dismissive wave. Without breaking his aloof stride, he left the room. Well, Mikado and Rindo are both tied up. We're back to Katone's perspective. We know danger's coming. Oh no, she's just moping in her room, not knowing who's after her. Q? I sat on the edge of my bed to distract myself. I stared at my phone. I had been spending all my time in my room, hoping to regain my strength and to let this gaping wound heal. Il, however, remained unchanged, continuing to sleep in the room over. Nor had I heard from Rindo about the interrogations with Dromie had progressed. What am I even doing here? Everyone is fighting tooth and nail, doing whatever they could for the sake of Ignis and for all of us. Yet I chose to stay inside, my room, wallowing in self-pity to no end. But each time I urged myself to stand on my own 2 feet, multiple times I should add, it all ended the same. No matter what I tried, the memory of the incident came flooding, and fear paralyzed me from head to toe. But still, I can't stand to call Ignis a calamity or a monster. Nor can I handle the thought of life without him around. I refuse to. That much I knew for sure. But my options in this room were limited. I was sure that Ignis and I were ever to meet again, I would be afraid. If he knew the truth, it would hurt him more than anything up to this point. I want to see him. I want to, but I'm scared. What should I do? Ignis! Q! I uttered my plea and Koro responded with a heartrending cry. The small creature crawled into my lap. His eyes were puffy from tears. Kyurur! Katone! Katone! Ignis! Ignis! Together! Together! Kororo! Kororo had seemed to indicate some kind of dissatisfaction on account of the distance between Ignis and myself in this moment. Even I! Oh. Okay, that's the explosion happening at the GPM. A huge tremor interrupted my thought. I rushed over to a window, pulling back the curtain to see a large crowd gathered. A lot of screaming. What? Kyururu? With Koro in my arms, I hurried downstairs to see things from the ground floor. Once more, I ran over to a shop window, hoping for a clearer view of the outside. Right outside of Enchante, through the door and around the winding road. A crowd of minotaurs leading various other beasts rioted on the motorway. It was pandemonium, as humans and non-humans alike tried to flee from the frightful scene. What is this? What's going on here? It wasn't the minotaurs themselves storming through the town as they pleased that worried me. Normally, I had Ignis here to handle all the beasts for me, and there were never this many. I was rooted on the spot as Miser and Canis, who had been nursing ill back to health, made their way to me to look for themselves. This timing couldn't be worse. Did another wormhole the bestia open up somewhere?
Miser, maybe we can worry about the specifics later. The stakes have never been higher. We must make haste to rescue any nearby humans from harm.
Roger that. Katone, whatever you do, don't dare leave Enchante. Okay. Then both Miser and Canis rushed outside to navigate the commotion.
Oh! Not only are they vast in number, but they seem to have us totally surrounded.
Damn! This is a headache. If only I could teleport everyone to an open field in another realm. I'd blast them all. Don't forget, if we get carried away fighting here, the barrier sealing Ignis will weaken. Steel and magic clash in the distance. Bitter pangs underscored my helplessness. I held on to Koro, observing from the safety of my shop. Oh, will everyone be okay? At a glance, there seemed to be more minotaurs than I had ever seen. No matter how much I trusted Ignis and them, I'd contemplated the thought of casualties. Who's this? I can only guess who it is. What? Huh? Q? A shrill scream pulled my eyes to the outside, and it hadn't taken me long to spot the source. Oh, it's Karia! Oh no! I thought maybe Dromie, like, made it here. Because it seems a little obvious who he's after. What's up with them? Standing at the entrance to Enchante. Get back inside, dude! I saw Karia standing with one leg inside of the cafe, while to his rear, an enormous minotaur huffed, eyeing him like a tasty morsel. As the minotaur raised his elbow high into the air to swing down upon Karia. Karia, over here! Q! With a small aquatic mammal in my arms, I pried the front door open. I used my free hand to grab Karia's forearm, yanking him into the cafe with all my might. What? Karia came stumbling into Enchante. It might not have been pretty, but we were safe. I immediately pulled on the doorknob to shut the door when... A foot slipped into the gap, obstructing it from closing. The owner of the foot was not, in fact, the minotaur who had rushed Karia.
Hello! Thanks for the warm welcome, Miss Owner.
Dromie! In self-defense, I attempted to shove him out of the door, but he tightly gripped my arm. I ended up relenting, which gave him enough leverage to force himself into the shop.
Now then, with all those troublesome regulars gone, I'm safe, since we both know they'd wipe the floor with me if they were here.
Get away from her! Karia was quick to shout at the sudden intruder, shooting up to his feet. Karia squinted, staring at our intruder, as a sharp coldness sleeps around us.
Whoa there! Would you go so far as to skewer Miss Owner and me together?
Dromie spun me around, holding me in place before him like a shield, and the ice shattered before it could take shape. You coward!
Coward? Oh, come on. Consider it as more like it. After all, I'd consider letting Miss Owner go if it meant fighting you one-on-one. What do you say? I might not be the baddest beast around, but I've got more than enough to kick your half-human, half-whatever ass.
Dromie showed his teeth, implying that our resistance would put Karya's well-being at risk. Karya! Don't do it! But I gotta... I'll be fine. Please don't do anything dangerous. I think we should wait for Miser and Canis to return. Karya pointed his disappointment at the floor, to which Dromie nodded smugly.
Yes, yes, good boy. If you kept whining and crying, I'd have to gut you.
However, Dromie kept his hold on me tight, putting me between himself and Karya. Then, just as he had done on the night he infiltrated Enchante, Dromie walked me over to the gate and threw me into Bestia. I had Koro tightly into my arms as we plunged once more into that icy world. Right, everything's going down. As soon as we crossed over, my breath came vapor, reduced to an intense chill that nearly choked me. Surprisingly, though...
Here you go. I hate for you to freeze to death.
Dromie, the erratic puppet master, wrapped a blanket around my shoulders. It was enough to stop my shiver, giving me a chance to catch my breath. He doesn't want you to die right away. Why go through all the trouble? Hadn't he dragged me in the first place, hoping I would freeze to death?
You're an open book, Miss Owner, is written on your face. Well, don't get it twisted. I'm leaving you here to die. That much is still true. After all, nothing beats a fresh catch for dinner. Am I right or am I right?
Do you mean...
Cue-doo-doo-doo-doo. Oh dear, I thought I heard something. Looks like Koro's come to play. That little sack is a pain in my ass. Think you're a guard dog, big guy? Cute?
Koro? Dromie's demented face warped as he lunged to snatch Koro from my arms. Then he tossed the poor creature to the snowy ground like a rag doll. As I reached my arms out to Koro. Oh, ow!
There, Miss Owner. Let's leave this nuisance behind. Come along. I'm taking you to see the person you've been dying to see.
Dromie dragged me through the plush snow. There was nothing I could do to resist. I winced as the rocky ground scraped my back. Oh, Koro!
Q! 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 Kyuru!
Katone! Huh? Q? Alright, I wonder who found Koro. Back to Ignis. The hunger had become torturous, like my gut was being ripped from my body. How many days has it been? Any concept of time left me. There I sat, pathetically, squatting in isolation inside that freezing cave. All I could think about was finding prey, which required me to break the barrier. I clenched my fist tightly enough to draw blood, using pain to hold my focus together. Damn it! How much longer can I stand in here? I should have told Miser or one of the others to put me out of my misery. I caught myself groaning in resentment. Then I see a faint glimmer of light, meaning there was an opening in the barrier. While stuff like spells and magic weren't really my forte, I recognized Miser's handiwork when I saw it, and that perfectionist wouldn't be caught dead half-assing one of his spells. If one of his projections, like the barrier up there, started to waver. Are you in some kind of trouble, Miser? Something in my gut told me to cast a look up at the ceiling, and sure enough...
Hey, bro! Sorry to keep you waiting!
Some wimpy, high-pitched voice echoed down from the opening, making my ears sore. I pointed my fist, hoping he'd take the hint before he pissed me off even more. Huh? What? Katone! Ignis! It was her. But at the same time, I could barely look her in the eye. But that rat bastard flung her carelessly through the barrier onto the shrine floor. Right, back to Katone's perspective. Oh no, are we gonna become a meal? After hours of trudging through Bestia's snowy fields, not to mention without any breaks, Dromie had shoved me into the cavernous shrine that housed the mural of Vanar. I collected myself, but when I looked up, it was him. But I couldn't make eye contact. The man I cherished most was separated from me, visible only through an opaque barrier. Katone! Ignis! It was him, alright. There's no mistaking his gentle eyes. But nevertheless, his name quivered in my mouth. In the moment, I unwittingly withdrew, giving into my fear of confronting him.
Hey now, where are you going? Are you trying to run away?
Oh! Dromie drop-kicked my back with a thud, knocking the wind out of me. Dromie, you bastard! Don't you dare touch her!
Ah, yes. Sorry about that. I'm just tenderizing her for you, okay? Surely you'll forgive me for that.
Tenderizing?
That's right. Oh, brother. I bet this lady's the tastiest thing you ever laid your eyes on, isn't she? Doesn't she look delicious? That day, I remember it clear as ever. The pure joy on your face says it all.
Don't tell me. The reason Dromie dragged me all the way to this ice-cold cave alive is...
Which is why I figured I'd make your celebratory feast extra special before you officially become Vanar. Bon appetit, big guy! Imagine getting to savor your favorite meal on the planet before becoming an actual god! Does it get any better?
Dromie, you...
Oh wow! You had no idea that I was about to surprise you. You're speechless! It was the least I could do to repay you. Now. Take as much time as you need. Savor every little bite.
Don't screw with me! You know I won't do it!
Are you sure? You can't help your instincts when there's prey right in front of you. It's a matter of time.
Dromie curled his lips into a menacing grin, unsheathing his claws and reached over to tear my bandage with his sharp fingertips. The bandage clung to my raw flesh, stinging immensely as he reopened the wound. Rip. As he ripped the bandage from my arm, droplets of blood dripped onto the ice. Ignis rushed to cover his mouth, retreating a few steps back as his instincts kicked in. His cry reverberated through the cave. It hadn't taken me long to realize how much agony his hunger has caused him. He swung his arms out, trying to gain even more distance from me. But all he could do inside his tiny prison was pace back and forth. Don't go. I wanted nothing more than to say that, however. My arm throbbed as the blood trickled down. As my stomach sank, I stood rooted in place. Dick! Huh? My arm stopped hurting. Then, I hear the eerie sound of blood splashing to the ground and my eyes follow its path. The veins in Ignis's were ready to bulge from his skull, but he fought his ancestral cravings. At his feet, a river of blood flowed and thickened to a mixture with the dirt and snow. The runoff trickled to the barrier's edge. I gazed in horror at Ignis's bloody claws. Ignis? Was that his blood? Katone. Must feed. Must devour. No! Each time Ignis was tempted by the craving, he tore into his own body. His own body became burned and shredded. He was determined not to devour me. His commitment could cost him his life. I can't. I refuse to give in. All I want is for all this to... I could only watch in horror. I cut my hands over my mouth, but I knew there was no running. I dragged my feet towards him, watching as his body began to convulse violently. Stay back! If you come any closer, I'll kill... No! I'll devour you! Even in the end, while experiencing an onslaught to his mind and body and spirit, he looked out for me. Just a bit closer. I walked to where, if the barrier had broken, I knew I would be devoured, but I continued onward. Until I reached a threshold I couldn't pass. I'm scared. I'm scared, Ignis. Just look at you. I barely recognize you. It's all because every time I look at you, I'm reminded of the moment you tried to eat me, and my feet stop. I wonder why. I thought that when you love someone, nothing could stop you from being apart. That's what I thought until now. What was stopping me from reaching out my hand? In the end, I had clung to a naive fantasy, whereas my actual circumstances involved the very tangible threat of my gruesome death. But through panted breaths, Ignis responded. That's how I feel too! Duh! You know better than anyone! His voice howls in lament, echoing behind me. Why? Why did it have to be me? Why do I have to be the one to inherit my ancestral power? Why? To you, of all people! Why did I have to hurt you? All because I'm a monster just like him. The burden sat heavily on Ignis's shoulders. I don't want to have to live without you. I want to go back to Enchante. I'll eat whatever you set in front of me every day for the rest of my life. You're the strongest person I know. No one else's smile lifts me up like yours does. I can't go another day without it. Is it too much to ask for a simple life together with you? Ignis. But I get it. That's impossible. You'll never feel safe around me. We both know it. I'll just devour you. You being here is proof enough of it. Even hearing your voice makes my stomach growl uncontrollably. I think it's too late. Soon, I'll look at everyone I meet as nothing more than a meal. Why? Why? Why must I be cursed to suffer the craving of the woman I love? Tears began to well in my eyes. Despite the grimness of his desperate plea, the sentiment behind it shot through me like an arrow, causing my heart to skip a beat. Me too. My heart belongs to you. I don't want to fear you. Yet, my heart was all over the place. Feelings clashed, conflicted, and formed lines that could and would never intersect.
Okie dokes. Mind wrapping up the sub-stories soon?
Oh. Dromie ruining the good moment! No! Dromie once more kicked me from behind, sucking the wind out of my lungs. He crouched and grabbed me by the scruff of my neck, threatening me coldly.
I'm getting real tired of your chatter, lady. I'd hate to think what you'd be like as Vanar's mate. Not that we'll have to worry about that. How about we awake Vanar already? You're just so pitiful, even for a human. All you're good for is a last meal.
Before Dromie put his grubby hands on me once again, my vision inexplicably became bright red. Oh, it's gonna slap back. Oh, yeah, the slap. Oh, Dromie's not as weak as he appears. Dromie had all of a sudden stopped provoking Ignis, so I mustered all of my strength to slap him in the face with my open hand. But then, I remembered. I still had to face Ignis. That terrifying truth hadn't changed. But my concern for Ignis was nearly eclipsed by the anger I aimed at Dromie for trying to make an offering to Vanar. Dromie had lightly put his fingertips to the reddish spot I had slapped, a rare moment of reflection for the impish beast. Of course, as a human, my slap did no significant harm to him, especially not to a beast. But Dromie slowly rose, pursing his lips as he searched for a response.
You! How dare you, you meat scrap!
Dromie knocked me out with a roundhouse kick. Katone! As Ignis gets closer to me, the scent of my blood travels to his nose, and his cravings become heightened. His face crunches as he resisted the urge, restraining himself from dominating me. Dromie watched the two of us, wide-eyed and apprehensive.
Don't screw with me! Quit playing! Quit playing around!
The werecat began to stamp his feet in anger, as color filled his pale cheeks.
Vanar, why you gotta hesitate? If you devour her, then you'll become unstoppable. Can't you see?
What?
We have the same dream. Both of us want to change the world. Let's rid of all of the evil and murderers. Don't you agree?
Ignis, fighting to keep his sanity, listened to Dromie proclaim a last-ditch monologue.
You idiot! You must be sleeping if you think our dreams are anything alike.
Vanar is nothing more than a ravenous murderer. Don't get us confused.
No, you're totally wrong. Vanar is... You're... totally different from any other beast. You don't just slaughter the weak for sport.
Dromie continued on indignantly.
You only kill to satisfy your hunger. You kill to survive. That's not evil. That's just your nature. You honor the dead by absorbing their flesh and blood in yourself. Then they live with you forever. You might spill blood, but you make it a worthy sacrifice. It's totally different.
It was clear how misguided Dromie had been. It was tragic.
I'll say it over and over. Vanar will enlighten us and show us the true path which all beasts should follow. Once Vanar devours all the beasts and destroys the endless fight for supremacy, all of you will see. Believe me, I've seen brutality. I've seen people killed for nothing. I had to sit and watch while my friends and family were taken from me. That's why others might regard you as nothing more than a heretic of doom. To me, Vanar is salvation.
I suppose from a certain point of view, his wasn't all different from Ignis's, but it could never come to be. It was too bitter.
Dromie, you're... insane? Cruel? Cowardly? Yeah, fine. I know that better than anyone else. Still. You may think I'm in denial, but I'll spill as much blood as needed to awaken the Calamity.
Dromie had surrendered his fate, avenging his fallen loved ones by taking the whole world with him. Ever since that day, Dromie had nothing, but even now, he looked uncertain to fulfill his purpose. Despite his best efforts, he was once more at the mercy of uncontrollable circumstances. I can only imagine how tragic it was. How much pain he endured. But I remain steadfast. You're wrong! While you and Ignis both pledged to change the world, your methods are different.
What?
For Ignis, the inherent value and beauty in the world around us isn't up for debate. He is the same as he has always been. He is a sworn protector of the weak, someone who would give his life for others. That's why he fights. I continued. That's what sets you two apart. He wants to save the world, and you're condemning it. My words fell on Dromie's deaf ears. Without a word, he kicked my head again. I was blinded by pain, but I couldn't pass out. It wasn't just my head, my back, arms, just about every part of my body throbbed.
Shut up, shut up! You blabber on like you have any idea what you're talking about. You lived a spoiled life. Humans don't worry about anything. Pull that silver spoon out of your mouth and shove it. I'm the only one who truly understands why we need his power. Vanar. I'm the one who understands.
Stop, Dromie! I coughed up blood each time Dromie kicked into me, which enraged Ignis even more. But it was futile, as his cries of anguish only poured gasoline onto the raging fire that was Dromie's thirst for revenge.
Why don't you stop me yourself? Why won't Vanar come out already? How are you still conscious? Why? You're nothing more than an insect from the weakest realm of them all. So, why are you such a pain?
That's... Can't you see? This isn't what Ignis wants.
You. Damn you, woman!
Dromie pulled his leg back, gathering enough force to shatter my ribcage. I braced for the impact of his kick, shutting my eyes in fear, but... Oh, suddenly calm? A moment passed and I looked up fearfully to see Dromie halted in place. His expression began to soften.
I've had enough.
But at first glance, it wasn't as simple as a change of heart, or even a surrender.
I get it now. I hoped that bringing you here would be the finishing touch, but it backfired on me. Because of you, Ignis might not want to associate with Vanar at all.
Dromie turned his neck to glance at Ignis, who watched from inside the barrier.
So if you won't eat her, maybe I will.
He broke into a cruel, bitter laugh.
What? To be honest with you, I've been watching you, just in case maybe I have to do some eating of my own. Well, here it goes. If all I need are my fangs to rip her apart before I swallow, it shouldn't be hard. But I still got no stomach, so don't be surprised if I puke her up afterwards.
What? Dromie capitalized on Ignis's shock, and the firewolf stood helpless as his old friend shoves me to the ground. Let go of me!
Now, I wonder how you taste.
He stretched his lips into a deranged smile. His fangs were pointed and gleaming. Stop! I said stop! Dromie! Ignis strained his throat, screaming, but Dromie reacted with a smile as I squirmed beneath him.
Bye-bye. Any last words, Miss Owner? I'll be sure to give Vanar my full report on how you taste. Don't worry. Okay, time to dig in.
Is this still the good ending? I'm worried. His sharp fangs pressed into my neck. The tips of his canines punctured holes. This was it. I was about to be eaten. As I nearly succumbed to my daze. The sound of flames igniting startled me. No, Ignis! I could have guessed what exactly had happened, but as I cried out to him, it was too late. Whatever senses he could bundle together or cast aside, ironically, to save me. A crimson storm shattered the barrier. Then... Oh. Oh! He is... What? He is... I'm gonna change his voice for this. The flaming wolf of Calamity let out a guttural primordial roar of awakening. Bestia, the land of beasts. Its inhabitants follow a strict code of law. The strong dominate the weak, or thin them from the herd. Tonight, once more, beneath moonlight, somewhere in this vast, desolate place, someone is killing, dying, fleeing, or fighting. This order has been upheld for eternity. Its rules had been paid for and signed by the blood of all beasts. A crimson fiery tower rises into the night sky. Any beast whose eyes catches the red flare blast upwards, stop in their tracks and stares. It was strange. A bitter, intense frost covered the terrain, so thick not even sunlight could penetrate it. In the dark of this night, one could hardly see the moon. So... what was that? The answer puzzled all but a chosen few. A mighty howl blazed the surrounding area. A beast feared by all in antiquity. The beast that time forgot. The heretic of doom. The world devourer, Vanar. Take a good look at him. He's a literal fire wolf. Literally on fire. Awakened after millenniums of hibernation, thanks to the latent power dwelling in a young fighter, the flaming wolf is reborn. Led by the call of hunger in its stomach, to satisfy the craving swelling within. The unforgiving winds, the blizzards, the ice melt at any distance near the flaming wolf. Observers from far away cannot make out the source of this mysterious pillar, but its light is nevertheless ominous. Upon seeing the flaming pillar, all beasts abandoned their skirmishes, struck by fear. It was certain death. This instinct came universally to all beasts. All except for one.
Whoa, that's it! This is the real Vanar!
At the feet of the snarling wolf, who sniffed for prey, rejoiced the calamitous fanatic. Dromie, are you gonna be the first one to be eaten here? Run! Dromie, third definition, a fanatic of calamity, His attachment is rooted in a sad yet very serious wish to win against the rules of the world of Bestia that is filled with malice and slaughter.
That's right, Vanar. Devour! Devour everything! It's all yours! You're the strongest! Your time as the great equalizer has come! My hopes, my dreams, my dying wish! Consume the strong and the meek alike! Spare no one from your just wrath!
Katone's at the foot of the beast. How is she gonna get away? Katone. Ugh. At someone else's urging, I was shaken awake. As my eyelids slowly opened, the person I see in front of me was... Oh, hi. Thank goodness! Your condition was slightly... aggravated, but luckily nothing life-threatening. Miser! I glanced around. The restless field of ice along with the shrine had vanished into memory. With the aid of Miser, I attempted to stand, placing both my feet on the cold floor. Canis and Rindo stared back at me silently, but something in their eyes worried me. Huh? I knew that at some point I had fainted. But everything else was a blur. How did I get back here safely? Ooh! My face, my back, my arms. A dull pain coursed through my body. No, Ignis! I remembered everything. Dromie kidnapped me! Wait, tell me something. Where's Ignis? What happened to Ignis? Ignis is...
He has changed into something terrible. He's been running rampant in Bestia.
That must mean... Did Ignis become Vanar? As the reality sank in, I begged for all of it to be a mere nightmare. But all three nod in unison to my question. I'm sorry. Seems like we keep coming just a bit too late. We managed to catch up with you guys a moment before Ignis turned into Vanar.
We saw the magnificent tower of fire, which destroyed the shrine. Then there's... you. Despite our best efforts, we could not hide Ignis's transformation from you. My deepest apologies.
No! None of you are responsible for this. I'll say Dromie. It wasn't really her fault. Dromie outsmarted all of us. Say Dromie outsmarted me. Dromie laid the perfect plan after all. Besides, you couldn't have just abandoned all the townspeople. I'm sure that Ignis, if he were there, he would have made the same decision. The part which hurt the most. Ignis succumbed to his instinct to become Vanar, all to save me. Regardless, we can't exactly let Ignis carry on as usual. We have to find some way to subdue him. Katone, What do you want to do? In the interest of your safety, maybe staying here is for the best. Miser offered his suggestion with a nod. It seemed he already expected my answer, but I appreciate his consideration all the same. I responded without hesitation. I want to go with you. I know there isn't much that I can do, but I want to do whatever it takes to help Ignis return to normal. Okay, the princess has joined the party. Let's save him, in the name of friendship. Yeah. Because friendship is magic.
Rindo, now that she's informed of her intention to join, are you ready to depart once more?
As Canis turned to face the man whom he directed his question, Rindo came huffing. Oh, a snowmobile? Snowmobile, a small motor vehicle that slides along the surface of snow. That would have been great to have before, but alright, we have it now. That's right. Perfect for traversing harsh, freezing terrain. I ordered a set for the investigation teams. Okay, time to move out. Oh, okay. At Rindo's prompting, I climbed into the rear seat behind him. Hanging on to each side of the vehicle, Miser and Canis hung on the hands and feet, sitting snugly in the side compartments. Weight limit, gentlemen. You two are plenty strong, so wouldn't it perhaps be better for you to fly or run beside me? Enough. It'll work. I'll just whip up a little spell to manipulate wind pressure. You can pretend that we're not even here.
Indeed, I must conserve my strength, just in case. You have our full trust, Pilot Rindo.
Rindo curled his lips into a smirk, digging his boots into the pedal and revving the engine before. Alright, hold on to your belongings. We got a big bad wolf to catch. As the snowmobile dashed atop the dense snow, I gripped my arms around Rindo. Oh. Miser stretched out his head to share info with me as we glided across Bestia. Weird to see, like, this perspective. He informed me that shortly after subduing the mad herd of minotaurs around town, they came back to Enchante. Once Karya had gotten he and Canis up to speed, he untrusted him or they trusted him with ill and left. I'm pretty sure that's supposed to say trusted. Or maybe entrusted. Then they regrouped with Rindo at the GPM. They routed the Minotaurs near his location and managed to manipulate a fixed wormhole to appear in the vicinity of the shrine. Shortly after, Rindo had placed an order for the snowmobile with Mikado after debriefing the doctor on everything thus far. I see him. Rindo called out to us, and sure enough, in the distance, a gigantic beast trampled on the frozen ground, crushing snowmelt beneath his paws the size of our vehicle. Ignis! Somewhere beneath that flaming behemoth was the fighter I longed to see. From this distance, he must be just about 20 meters tall. Holy hell, that's ridiculous. Hey, need I remind you of the cave painting? He's almost cute in comparison. Was the other one bigger? If we let him roam free and stuff himself until he becomes Vanar Prime.
He would grow to the size of a mountain, don't you think?
Right now, what exactly is Ignis heading for?
For a parade, naturally. My guess is that he's sniffing out for any nearby beast villages.
Just then, I heard a ringtone chiming from Rindo's coat pocket. Sorry, I can't answer while I'm driving. Could you answer it for me? Okay. That's Mikado. Hey, Rindo! Were you able to rescue the Enchante owner alright? Mikado! Ah, lovely. Just who I wanted to speak with. Impeccable timing. You saved Rindo from giving me a full report. Are you there too, Rindo? I have bad news and bad news. Yeah, it's all bad news. So which would you prefer to hear first? Couldn't you at least make up some good news? Anything? Whatever, just talk and keep it short. Indeed. Even I feel the stakes might be a little too high this time. Okay, keeping it short. Reports are coming in from the human world of a massive wormhole that's opened up in the sky. It connects to Bestia. Worse yet, it's big enough to fit Vanar. In other words, Ignis could very easily pass over in his current state. What? You've got to be kidding. That's not just Bestia's problem no more. Could it get much worse? Sheesh.
Has the human world been forsaken by death itself?
As we all process Mikado's bad news right before his eyes, Ignis came to a screeching halt. The calamitous beast let out a giant roar, swinging his nose in search of prey. Then he shifted his weight and sprinted off in an entirely different direction. Ignis? I called out to him in the darkness, but he showed no sign of slowing. Don't tell me! He's heading towards the portal to the human world! Gah! Really? He must have caught on to a scent from the other side.
Vanar prefers to feast upon humans more than any other creature, so if he passes through the wormhole,
He might just wipe out all of mankind. Gotta stop him somehow. Without much time to think, Rindo floored the acceleration to top speed. We managed to catch up with Ignis, keeping him well within pace to stay right on his tail. No matter what, stopping him is our utmost priority. Miser motioned with his arms, generating thick, colorful circles of mana that materialized into thick chains of light. The magic chains pursued Ignis, tangling around his massive body to ensnare him. But the great wolf howled, warding off the incoming spell with his inferno pelt. Damn! I should have practiced my wrangling before this trip. How's this? This time, Miser had stretched out his palm. The ground before Ignis cracked. Miser's spell tore the earth asunder. The great wolf took a step backward and the ground started to give beneath him, forming a pit down into the sea. Perfect! We could drop him into the sea! A wolf was a wolf, no matter the size. At risk of losing his balance, the wolf needed to run nimbly and quickly. The great beast dashed left and right, searching for some solid ground before the entire sinkhole collapsed. The spectacle draws a look from awe from Miser's face. Unbelievable, isn't it? Gotta say, must hand it to Ignis. If he's in there. Alright, take a drink of water. Misa, spare us the poetic dribble for once. Okay, got it. Alright, time to bring it all home. Miser thrust his hands outward into a shape, then snapped his fingers. Then... a series of incendiary explosions occur all over the surface of Ignis's fur. Even from a great distance away, I had to cover my cheeks from the heat produced by each deafening blast. Miser, don't you think you're overdoing it?
No, I believe your worries are unfounded in this situation.
As the smoke cleared from the explosions, Ignis had calmly carried on, acting as though nothing had happened. That beast soaks up a lot of pressure. My spells aren't making a dent. Although the most worrying part about it is... he seems totally oblivious to everything I throw at him.
He's acting on pure instinct. He will not rest until he finds nourishment. Anything else is a distraction.
If he's impervious to taunts or persuasion, then it looks like neither of you have anything more to give to our cause.
In that case, I shall race ahead to intercept him directly. If I confront him head-on, he might identify me as an obstacle to his hunt. He may try to engage me as a threat.
But Canis, are you sure that's okay? Usually Canis had no trouble assuring me, but even the Black Knight was lost for words. This time, it seemed, was an exception.
The only way to know is to try. However, no longer can I watch my friends succumb to depravity in this monstrous state. Rindo, full speed ahead!
Aye aye! We need to bet on every chance we get, or else we will not get another one. The snowmobile's engine let out a low grumble over the icy fields. Soon we overtook Ignis, and when we had gained a fair bit of distance, Canis leapt out of the snowmobile, unsheathing his enormous blade in a bid to distract Ignis. Miser follows soon after, covering his ally from behind. The vehicle zooms some ways away from the fray, keeping a close eye on them. I'll cover the high ground. Go ahead and give him a real fight.
Understood!
The Black Knight and the Demon King. Even when facing two of the greatest warriors across all realms, Ignis didn't flinch. Katone, brace for impact! Okay! The moment I stiffened my body, Canis took a giant leap. The Knight of Medio and the Wolf of Calamity clashed together, slamming the ground with intense impact. As expected, Canis' sword could not penetrate the blazing hellfire which covered the fur of his opponent. Somehow, however, the Black Knight managed to halt Ignis in his tracks. Miser was quick to react. I'll make sure you never run again by cutting those leg tendons. Oh. Miser drew large circles above his head that summoned hellish spears, which he hurled towards Ignis' legs. However, the result was the same. It was, despite Miser's effort, futile. Much like the chunks of ice, Miser's spells evaporated before ever making contact with their intended target. Does nothing work? Looks like there's a reason people call that thing a big calamity. Miser. Duh! He's making me out to be some kind of minor sidekick. Shouldn't being a Demon King count for something? As I sat in astonishment beside Rindo, I noticed a small magic circle. It was, from what I recalled, what Miser used to communicate with Il. Either way, I'm tapping everyone in with some communication magic. This way we can talk to each other. Behind Miser, Canis was still in the heat of battle, clanging his sword at the massive wolf without breaking a sweat. Can he sweat? He's literally a suit of armor. Explosions continued to ring in the distance, likely from some spell that Miser automated while talking to us. So what's the plan? Looks like Vanar is invulnerable. There's nothing else we can do? Well, technically he hasn't fully awakened as Vanar yet, as we thought. He's still vulnerable for now. I mean, maybe the reason we're having such a hard time is because we're stuck thinking Ignis is still in there. Not to worry though. I have something special up my sleeve. No matter the monster, no matter the realm, I never lose. But if I activate this power, the battle would immediately end. Miser, is that... As the cacophonous battle waged behind us, Miser heaved a sigh in anguish. Rindo frowned, having seemingly picked up on Miser's implication. None of my bindings or restraining spells are working. We're running out of time before Ignis crosses over into the human world. All of us have a decision to make. That meant... Do you mean... killing Ignis? There the line was silent. I took a deep breath, realizing the answer. Miser, are we leaving it up to you? Yeah, I'm the one who has to cast the spell, so it's in my hands. I'll kill him myself. Understood. As the GPM's provisional representative, I must concur. The two broached the topic diplomatically. I couldn't even eke a word in protest. With the fate of the world hanging in the balance, Miser and Rindo had to make the toughest decision of all. There was no denying the threat to mankind posed by Ignis, that I knew. If he were part of our discussion, I knew for sure he wouldn't want to eat, kill, or put anyone in harm. If it were up to him, he would rather die. But... Please stop! During a pause in their battle. Come back! Ignis! I realized I couldn't abandon hope, so I screamed out to him in a parched voice. Alright, who is this? Grazing a corner of the ice field were several beast clans grouped en masse. The strong and the weak. Tribes who had warred amongst one another days or even hours ago stood in harmonious awe. They gazed their eyes upon the magnificent wolf and trembled before its maw. Beast brute, eh? What the hell is that? It looks like a monster! Who in their right mind would take that thing on? What do we do? You're kidding me! There's nothing to do against a monster that big. I say we tuck our tails and get the hell out of here. It was common sense even to savages. While all beasts communed in unspoken trust, one that dared them to risk their lives in the name of honor and blood sport. The godlike wolf towered above them, superseded their futile search for supremacy. The crowd of beasts all nodded in agreement. Savage and civilized beasts all turned their back to leave the battlegrounds together. Among their number was... Was a beast like that really in Bestia? Hey you! Come on, look alive! We should hurry up and get out of here too! After they struck up an acquaintance several days prior, the boy and the girl developed a strong neighborly friendship. The girl tugged at his arm, hoping his eyes would meet hers before they trotted to safety with the rest of the pack. But the girl's ears perked upward, twitching in alert. The boy asked what she heard. I'm listening! Huh? It's a voice! Someone is calling the monster's name! The boy squinted his eyes, blushing because her hearing was sharper than his, but he focused, listening closely. Come back! Ignis! Each impact cracked the foggy air. The boy recognized the voice. It belonged to the human woman whom he tended. The girl and the boy exchanged a look. Ignis? Is that him? Both of them gasped in disbelief, but others soon began to hear the voice. The two put their heads together, trying to discern how exactly that monster was the same person as the beast who saved them. True. The firewolf and this great beast had similarities, and some beasts could switch between humanoid and animalistic forms. But even so, how much of Ignis survived in there? Judging by the beast's reckless, destructive movements, the answer appeared grim. What could have happened to him? What could save him? The boy and the girl took in the sight of the giant beast and realized they were terrified of its monstrous size. However, together, they nodded and found resolve. Each of them put one leg before the other. They moved forward, one step at a time, as if in sync. They were friends, no matter what. Both of them represented every beast who had ever owed their lives to Ignis. They bravely stepped towards that great calamity together. It was a sight to behold. The hardened beasts who wouldn't have hesitated to torture or kill them rubbed their eyes in disbelief. Alright, back to Katone. After countless swings of his sword were powerless to deter Ignis's advance, Cadus had begun to feel like he reached his threshold. Just as his solid armor was close to bursting from the intense heat. Thick chains of light had suddenly appeared, restraining Ignis's giant body. This time, they did not shatter prior to impact, and the fiery wolf found itself ensnared as it lashed out in resistance.
I'm saved. However...
What was that? Everyone glanced up at the sky in unison. My apologies. Please do excuse my tardiness. Ew! I thought you were comatose in that bed at Enchante. I haven't the faintest clue why, but while I slept, I somehow recovered a sliver of spirit energy. According to Karia, a man you had never seen before arrived, and insisted he perform treatment on me. Il spoke in a calm demeanor, flapping his wings while he recounted his story. From what Karya said to me, this must be Vanar, better known as Ignis, I presume. Yeah. Duly noted. I must mention that my abilities are far below peak condition, but I can play some part in the battle. As Il said his part, Ignis bit the chains of light using his fangs to force them off. Then rolled over, smashing his tail right into Il's body. Oh no, Il! He just got better! God. Il! Nothing good happens to Il and Bestia. Freed from his metaphysical chains, Ignis barged haughtily on the icy fields before turning to stampede over the downed Il. Oh! At the last second, a shadow swooped down. In the nick of time, Il was saved by a mysterious savior. To my surprise, it was not Canis nor Miser, not Rindo, and certainly not me. That was scary! You sure that's Ignis? If not, then I think we made a big mistake coming here. I squinted through the darkness, realizing there was something familiar about him. It was the frail beast boy who saved me. As he carried Il to safety, he turned to look over his shoulder each time Ignis roared. Then... Tattered clumps of ice came flying from behind us. The specks hit Ignis's eye. Are they throwing snowballs at him? Rindo and I are frozen in place, puzzled by what we had seen when... Doesn't matter how big you are, no one likes dirt in their eye. Rushing atop the bluff was another familiar face, a young grinning beast girl. It's you! That's rich! I've never seen or heard any beast like the one like you're describing. So, where were you? Why couldn't you come before my parents were killed? All this time. It's been a while. You look as sickly as ever. Actually, it hasn't been a long time at all. It's just your face. Huh? The young girl laughed, a hair out of her nose, enjoying a smug laugh to herself. A rumble grew in the distance, signaling the rally of the beast contingent en route. Beasts of all colors and creeds, united by their size relative to Ignis, ran forth. Some of them stopped to pack tight lumps of ice into snowballs, hurling it like cannon fire into the towering wolf's eye. They're just pissing him off. Others leapt towards Ignis's snout, finding patches of fur to kick at to disorient the beast. While each attack did no serious harm to the wolf on its own. It was a death by 1,000 cuts. The wolf was poked and constantly in all directions, infuriating him to no end. He could hardly focus on Miser or the others, and the frustration had become too much to bear as his flames began to wildly ignite. Whoa there! This gives me an idea. I hope you find this useful. From under his cloak, Miser flipped his hand, deploying Arcane Shield, which contained Ignis's flames and protect their lives. None of the beasts look outfitted for battle. They don't even have weapons. What's going on here? We're here to repay our debt. Debt? We all have something in common. We've had our misunderstandings, and all of us owe our lives to that sentimental, merciful beast up there. That's why, before we repay him, it would be a real pain if he ended up dying or was stuck as a wolf. Then it hit me. How do I put this? When I'm not fighting or something, I'm responsible for guarding my village and these folks who live here. Although he threw it out in cocky stride. Here was the proof, as all the people he had pledged to protect up until this point were gathered together as a community to save Ignis. The girl's proud declaration coaxed a smile from the faces of Meisner and the others. Okay, King, change the plans. It's a full-on attack, and restraintments won't work. We'll bombard him with distractions. That's what it comes down to. Let's bug the lights out of Ignis until he collapses from exhaustion.
Understood. Leave the safeguarding the beast to me.
Then I shall create a worthy distraction. Everyone fanned out, heading into position. Now instead of casting wave after wave of powerful attacks, they redirected their efforts by drawing the wolf's attention away from his target, using a more peaceful solution to handle the beast. Rather than slay the Wolf of Calamity, they gathered courage as a unit to repay the ultimate debt to their savior and friend. Even so, Ignis was slowly but surely making progress towards the wormhole, all while attempting to devour any beasts unlucky to be swallowed. As this happened... Hello? Do you enjoy being a sitting duck out there? Huh? The girl barked me out of my daydream. I've been watching you. All you do is sit and mope. You're just a coward. That's Ignis, right? The beast who never kills? Back then, didn't he almost give his life to protect you? Sure, he's seen better days, but the fact still remains. Listen up! I don't know what happened between you and Ignis, but... you've got the rest of your life to be scared. Isn't there something you should tell him? Just like with my parents. Don't wait till they're dead to say what you mean. Katone, there's no need to go. Didn't I tell you? My heart would stop at nothing to keep you safe. I gently placed my hand over my chest. My fingers felt the rhythmic thump of my heart, the one he swore to protect. There was something I could do. Something I needed to tell him. It was... Thank you. I clenched my teeth, grimacing at the truth of what she said, and thanked her. Rindo, everyone, I have a request. I poked my head over the crowd, commanding the group's attention with a loudly proclaimed proposal. I was being driven through the ice field in the opposite direction from the wormhole. Rindo raced the snowmobile through the tundra some ways from the battlefield. Are you sure you want to do this? Yes. The distraction effort is going well, but Ignis is still getting too close to the wormhole. That's where I come in. We need to draw his attention. Only one thing would work as bait.
That's right, little brother. I bet this lady's the tastiest thing you ever laid your eyes on, isn't she? Doesn't she look delicious? That day, I remember as clear as ever. The pure joy on your face said it all.
He was lured him to the wormhole by humans. Our only recourse was to tease him with an even more tantalizing scent. One came to mind. We can't choose you of all people as bait. I smiled, watching as Rindo furrowed his brow behind the wheel of his snowmobile. I'm prepared for anything. So Rindo, please get away from here. She's already made up her mind, Rindo. You better get out of here before your scent gets caught up in the mix. Keep in mind, however, not to cut things too close. When Ignis comes charging, we will be close to follow.
But if worse comes to worse, then I implore you to cover your wound and flee. Who knows whether or not Ignis will heal.
Got it, thank you! None of them could leave their position, so I responded affirmatively, holding the wishes of the beast people close to heart. I tepidly reached my hand over the bandage covering my wound. Then after extending his look of concern, Rindo nodded slowly. If anything happens, I'll be right there before you know it. Okay. With that, Rindo spun the vehicle around, moving to a safe distance where he could still keep an eye on me. Whew. I took a deep breath, then... I bit my lip as I pulled the sticky bandage from my arm once again. Blood began to pour, gush more like, and I watched the pestered Ignis from a distance. He scuttled as the scent hit his nostrils. Reacting to the scent of my blood, the wolf shook his fur before kicking at the ground to blaze towards me. Ill eyed the rampaging wolf, flapping wings to overtake the beast and secure me, but... Hang on a moment. He's traveling at speed faster than we anticipated. Don't tell me!
Until now, had he been using just a fraction of his possible speed?
Everyone across the magic circle gulped. Rindo, cancel the operation. I stand no chance of reaching her in time. Go and secure her quickly. I got her. The flaming wolf had sprinted towards me at the speed of sound, staring me with terror. As the one who conceived of this operation, I anticipated this outcome. The outcome where nobody made it in time, where my life could end in an instant. The wolf had let out a delightful howl, ready to savor the taste of his meager prey. There was no kindness in his eyes as they locked on to target me. Before I had a chance to move, the wolf stretched his maw open to devour me whole. But something beat him to it. At my feet, I heard something bounce. It plopped repeatedly on the icy ground. The sound repeated over and over, building into a louder rhythm until I heard the ice crack beneath me. Q! Wait, is Koro just gonna be the hero on this route? I heard an adorable cry squeak beneath the lakeshore, summoning even more countless small figures to loosen Ignis's footing. Even he had been taken by surprise. Before Ignis could adjust his front legs, his hulking frame slipped into the water. Waves began to crash, rippling through the immediate vicinity. Desperately, I shift my feet, hoping to avoid the wave. In front of me, I spy a small figure. I recognize that voice. I glance down to see... Kyuru! Koro! You're safe! Koro had been closely followed by a horde of beasts who looked just like him. It was a pride of Pakus. Could it be? Were the Pakus not extinct as we thought? It appeared that some had survived. Somehow, Koro managed to rally them after being tossed aside by Dromie? Paku A, Q! Q! The many Pakus formed an orderly line, cheering me on from the side. The unlikely heroes. I looked around me for Ignis. When I spotted him, he appeared to be locked in place, although something confused me. He groaned in frustration. Despite being, from my perspective, able to get out of his bind, he refused to. It was as though his mind and body were out of sync. His willpower was diminished. Then I realized... Ignis! I discarded my role as bait, and I called out to him, running as quickly as I could to the huge wolf. However, there were shards of broken ice all around me. It was difficult to find steadier footing, much less run. My legs were ready to give when... Aren't you going? Won't you see Ignis? Yes! The young boy came to my side, his eyes beaming with kindness. He generously helped me to my feet. He pulled my arm around and supported my back, making sure I found my footing, then he led me to Ignis. Just as we reached the wolf, a rushing wave caused Ignis's exhale rumbled the fragile ice. Wait, caused by Ignis's exhale rumbled the fragile ice. Keep going! Find Ignis and save him! The boy threw me from the cracked ice. He plunged into the sea in my place, thanks to his sacrifice. No, not fragile beast boy. Ignis was right there, standing right before my eyes. I make a slow, tepid approach to his maw. The wolf immediately raised his head, tracking me, his prey, with a glare. Following his ancestral instinct, the wolf bared his fangs to devour me. The beast cried out in anguish, his fangs halted inches from my face. The wolf opened his mouth, then closed it. He began to flee, wincing with each movement. This was no mindless beast. I could hear him whimper in there. I knew it! You're still there! I took one step, then another, when Oh. Well, Dromie, no!
Huh. If you're so willing to make an offering out of yourself, why didn't you cooperate at the start? Oh, this is all a romantic gesture to you, isn't it? Maybe you taste better if you make him wait for it? No matter which excuse you choose, it doesn't matter. His ancestral instincts will prevail.
Dromie cackled maniacally, likely having watched everything unfold from the shadows. He just comes out of nowhere. But none of that mattered. Who are you even talking about?
What?
I'm not wasting my time here right now extending my hand to Vanar. He's awkward. And blunt. And he's like no one I've ever met. He's one of Enchante's favorite regulars. Ignis Carbunculus.
Damn you, woman! Enough of the cheese!
Dromie raised his arms, perhaps so he could strike me again when... Two chains suddenly appeared around his body, completely restraining him. Just in time. Luckily, we were well within range to cast our spell. Our princess is unbreakable. Does that spell trouble, or is it a blessing in disguise?
Damn it! No justice, no peace!
Give up, Dromie! You won't fool us again. You're going nowhere. There's nothing you could do. Just sit quiet and watch. Thank you, Miser. Ill. I thanked my two assistants and I walked onwards once more. The pillar of light climbed into the night. At last I reached him. Sorry to keep you waiting, Ignis. Oh. I whispered softly into his ears, running my fingers through his scorched fur. Does that not hurt? Ignis let out a tender groan. Then...
Don't touch. Don't come. I'll kill. I'll eat you.
Once more, the Calamity surged. Ah. I knew it. The same old Ignis still hides in there. You're resisting Vanar. Even now, I know you're looking after me. I felt beside myself. But I'm sorry. I won't do what you tell me to. I won't scream in fear, and I'm not running anymore. I still haven't given up on you winning the fight. The wolf tilted his head in confusion, uncertain of what it meant. What I meant. I call it naivety. Or idealism. None of it mattered to me. Even if Ignis himself refused to believe it was possible, I believe in your strength. You're the strongest ever to live. Strong enough to overcome the instinct. Didn't I tell you before that I will satisfy your hunger every day at Enchante for the rest of our lives? I haven't given up on that dream. What about you, Ignis? That's wrong. That's not all I want. My real wish is my dream. What gives me purpose? Tell me what you wanted to say. Tell me your wish. I want to know your heart's deepest desire. Suddenly, his enormous body began to convulse.
Why? Why are you?
The moonlit flames flickered above the frost. It was as though whatever lay dormant inside of him was fighting desperately not to vanish.
Why must this calamity forsake me like this? How can you smile like that?
The flames weakened, and the wolf heaved a sigh before going silent. Then, he lamented, just as he had at the shrine, but there was new life to it somehow.
Katone. I don't want to kill you. I don't want to devour you. Take me back to Enchante. With you, in good days, in bad. I want to dedicate my life to you.
He cried out from the bottom of his heart. Oh, it's crying.
That's it. That is my real wish. My calling is...
The malevolent force that compelled Ignis to feed. Howled for the last time. I've been devoured. In a sense. Don't play us like this game. It had been totally devoured. Katone! After returning to his original form, Ignis lived out the life he had always wished for. Oh. Ignis! I called out to his sweet voice as he wraps his arms around me. Welcome back! You returned to me as quickly as you said you would. We shared in the same heat. We went to merge our lives into one. Oh. The perspective looks a little weird. Not gonna lie, I think Ignis needs to be a little bit bigger. Because he's like a little bit closer to the camera, but it's cute. I'm guessing he's crouching as well. At last, the night was broken, and a warm sunrise was birthed into that frozen realm. Yeah, that's right. My wish, my true calling, is to live my life by your side. My strength has become our strength, and my love for you will burn inside me until there's nothing left to give. I want nothing more than to be the man of your dreams. Instead of, devouring you. You finally said it. You might run your mouth from time to time, but at least you're sweet. In my arms, I felt a warmth and a comfort I didn't know were possible. The thought brought a tear to my eye. No more rampages from me, I promise. From this day on, I'm just Ignis, a simple man whose love is the strongest woman in the world, Katone Awaki. And so, he shed his past as Vanar. From a short distance away, our friends sat watching us, grinning kindly as we basked in our love. It's no use. I couldn't possibly take another step. I'm exhausted. We fought the whole night long. Good thing I got some beauty sleep in the demon world, or I'd have to keep watch after ill. Goodness.
Indubitably, can't say that word. That was a Herculean task. In fact, it must have been a personal record for time spent on the battlefield.
Haha, at my age, all-nighters are few and far between, gentlemen. It's way past my bedtime. Haha, a nap couldn't hurt, could it? Herindo. All these guys acting like old men. Is Il still on the ground? Ooh.
Speaking of exhaustion, it seems our friend knocked out the moment the mission came to an end.
Now that the dust settled, don't you think it was a miracle we made out of here alive? Honestly, I wasn't sure I wouldn't make it. That was enough adventure for a lifetime. Yep, that was a once-in-a-lifetime event. I've had my fill. True, but be proud of yourself. We helped stop the strongest beast that ever lived. Here and everywhere. We don't have to let anyone call us weak ever again. I won't let cowards judge me. Beastly brutes, and so war was ended forever. Right you are. All of us here are more than willing to vouch for you. In the end, it wasn't the person with the most power who stopped the wolf. The conversation unfolds amidst the chatter. But there was one. Someone unable to accept reality, The young man fell to his knees.
You're kidding.
Everyone else was gathered in celebration, and the chains which had restrained him until sunrise were unhinged. But Dromie nevertheless stared into the emptiness, unmoving.
This is all a lie, bro. This is some sort of mistake. Bro was gonna be the strongest. Vanar. But they stopped him. Not with weapons, but with words.
Much to his surprise, someone responded to his cries out in the void. That wasn't a mistake. Didn't you see it for yourself? Yep. He lost. The so-called strongest beast, Vanar. The people who came to the aid of Katone. Those who overcame their weak designation, defying the odds by conquering Ignis the Strong. Dromie turned the thought over in his head, letting the gravity sink in.
He lost? So my dream is summon the strongest fighter of all time, Vanar, wasn't killed by the Demon King, the Angel, or the Knight, but by the weak beasts and humans?
The platonic ideal of strength you idolize does not exist in the way you imagine it. Remember, even the first Vanar of antiquity was bested by beasts and humans all those millennia ago.
Even if Ignis somehow became Vanar once more in the future, the result will be the same. I'm sure he's destined to lose to the real heroes, to them, and to Katone. Oh, happy. Meanwhile, just watching us hug here. Whatever Miser and the others were discussing was none of our concern. Hey, Ignis? Yeah. Over and over, we couldn't tire of it. We basked in each other's warmth, exchanging sweet, tender words. Then get a room. You're so strong. You fulfilled your promise. You came back to me. I feel so safe in your arms. At first, Ignis was taken aback by my directness. He let out a lighthearted chuckle. Huh? Was that weird to say? Yeah, you just don't get it. You're the strong one here, Katone. Huh? You never gave up. Not even when it got real tough. When things were the darkest. Somehow, you reached me. You helped me remember. Your feelings. My feelings. I've never met a woman as kind, as persistent as you before. I'm entranced by the comfort of his embrace. The dawn brought a new hope with it. Ah! Just then I feel all the gratitude in the world to be in the arms of the man I loved. Katone! I love you. I'll never let you go again. His words completed me. I won't let you go either. I squeezed tight, bringing this body closer. The one and only wolf of burning love. It was a fire we now tended together. It blazed on, illuminating our dark past, guiding us to a brighter future. The end Credits? Credits! Alright. Well, that was dramatic. my voice is dying after all that. But yeah, that was a really exhilarating route. Yeah. There was I don't know, I felt like there was more connection to like the human world and like the beast world. The first route we did with Canis felt like a little bit more insular, but I feel like there's a lot more going in the background that we don't know in this route. Like, why the heck are these wormholes just popping up everywhere? But they did a good job just kind of focusing on Ignis's part. I feel like we'll learn more maybe about the wormholes in a different route. And of course, scary Ignis. There was a lot of emotions of fear elicited from that. Bon appetit! Oh. All's well that ends well. No, you gotta kind of worry. Like, Ignis at any time could still become Vanar. It wasn't like a definite ending like the other one where, oh, the world is healed. Alright, is there something else at the end of the credits? Alright, yeah. Who's this? Who this? Huh. It's Koro, the real hero of the route. Q! Q-do-do-do! Q! Koro's mama! Oh, he found his family! He did find some Pakus, but we weren't sure if those are just like his family or some random Pakus that he found. Ukuru? Koro's papa. Q. Kyuru! Lu! Ignis! Katone! Together! Always together! Well, I guess they let Koro in the beast world now. He's happy with his family. Well, we got a good ending for Koro. That's good. Alright, back to Katone's world. Now where did I put that new recipe book? Ah, I found it! Right, I put it on top of the shelf. I stretched up, reaching my arm towards the book I wanted. Ooh. As I groaned from a sharp pain. I'm gonna guess this is Ignis. Good grief! What are you doing? How many times I gotta tell you not to overdo it? It was Ignis. He entered the room without my notice, slipping between me and the shelf to pluck the book I had been reaching for. Thanks, Ignis. I can still grab books, you know. Just doing the boyfriend thing and being taller than you and grabbing it for you. My wound's mostly healed up. The pain will stop soon enough. Still, I don't like looking at it. Besides, cut me some slack. Worrying for the woman you love is totally normal. Ignis dropped the word so casually, but I hid my now rosy cheeks. Till recently, he seemed like someone who was naturally averse to the terms of affection. But something in him had changed, and it wasn't just my arm that throbbed. My heart beat so fast it could burst. I tried to distract myself, hoping my blush would start to fade before Ignis had noticed. So, it's already been a month. Time sure does fly. Yeah, but my eyes still hurt from all that crap they threw at my arms. Wait, you mean eyes? Not your face. Those beasts were better at throwing than I credited them. Threw a bunch of dirt in his eye. 1 month had passed since our battle against the legendary Vanar on the icy Bestian fields. Cafe Enchante had gone back to normal. At last, we had mostly reclaimed our normal lives. Although, the neighborhood was still undergoing lots of repair, thanks to the Minotaurs. Right, they were probably running amok for a while before they got all that settled. However, all the after-the-fact dealings that were, thankfully handled by Rindo and co. of the GPM. Are you sure it's alright? There's so many sweets in this batch. Of course! We're celebrating your full recovery! So enjoy it all on us!
Although over half of your candy packages are from Ignis, I presume he is quite guilty for hurting you.
Haha! I bet the only thing hurting now is his wallet. He doesn't have to worry about that anymore, right? After all. Might be temporary, but he found a new job. Naturally, all the regulars like Karya were beginning to arrive. However, there was one slight change, one that left a bittersweet taste. We no longer had our adorable mascot in my room, or around the shop. Koro had to be returned. Koro and the Pakus. Q! Koro managed to reunite with his clan of fellow Pakus. Q! 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 Kurururu. Q. And surprisingly, Koro was able to reunite with his parents. Honestly, size aside, I couldn't have told them apart from Koro. Are they just all the same looking, just bigger? There's no way of knowing which was him, his dad, or his mom. Regardless, after reuniting Koro with his parents, the little guy returned to the Bestia Seas. Although, it wasn't goodbye forever. Q! Koro had somehow managed to convince his clan to uproot their settlement closer to the gate. That way, he could spend their free days visiting me whenever I cross over. Before traveling to Bestia was dangerous, as hunters prowled the Badlands. It was practically asking for travel. For danger. But since then, Bestia has seen better days. Thanks to the uprising of lesser beasts who fought in the battle to stop Vanar. The more savage beasts who once hunted the lesser beasts for sport took mercy on their fellow beasts. While they're not wearing flower crowns and dancing in fields, at the very least, the beasts learned to cool it on the raids. Alright, just that easy. Perhaps the other descendants of Vanar exist. This thought came up from time to time. I thought, didn't Ignis wipe out the Firewolf stronghold? So it seemed the Bestians came to a new unspoken agreement to reduce the brutalism. At last, Koro could live in harmony amongst his kin and Bestia. Unless there's another Firewolf stronghold somewhere else, but don't know. To think that turning into Vanar was the key to achieving my dream of bringing peace to Bestia. Hopefully they keep better records. They don't just wanton kill everything. They can keep tabs on who could potentially turn into another Vanar. Look for signs. But who knows? Ignis muttered this to himself, but something seemed to disturb him. After what happened, Ignis decided to relocate his life to the human world. He moved in with me at Enchante. With his wish fulfilled, though not fully, he no longer had any reason to return to Bestia, as he achieved top supremacy. And although it wasn't his fault, Ignis knew he had to atone for the crime of letting his ancestral instinct run wild. So for now, he was hired as a part-time worker at Enchante, assisting me with duties for the duration of my injury. Got a lot of workers, but not a lot of customers. Lest we forget. The one who orchestrated all of it. That bastard Dromie still has been nothing but an empty shell over at the GPM. Right. After being apprehended by Rindo and Canis, Dromie was once more sentenced to imprisonment at the GPM. From what Rindo had told me, he had been locked in solitary confinement the whole time. Despite the feelings of betrayal, the situation was especially tough for Ignis, who still cared deeply for Dromie. What he did can never and should never be forgiven. But for as long as he lives, he must atone for his crimes, just as I do, and as I will continue to do. But if he, like me, somehow manages to come back to his senses, then... maybe one or two. No, I'll only let him off the hook after 50 knuckle sandwiches. Gonna punch it out of him. Maybe I misheard you, but did you skip twice to 50 times? From twice to 50? Of course I did. I had to narrow it to one person per punch. Ignis gently brought his hand to my cheek. He caused you so much pain. Not that I have much room to talk, but still. He stroked his fingers over my cheeks, as though he was looking for scars over and over again. I'm fine now. But what about you, Ignis? How's your body holding up after everything? You know, I've been holding up. There's been no weird, uncontrollable cravings since the day we left. But I figure there's no harm being too careful, so I haven't had any regular food either. I see. Okay, so he's not gonna like eat anything. But even before the cravings began, you appeared to have a healthy appetite. This must be quite the challenge. Not really. I've got something better than food. Huh? Oh no. We got the tongue! Gonna do his other cravings. Before I knew it, his lips were pressed onto mine, taking small, playful nibbles. It was hot. Too hot, almost. I felt his body quivering on mine as we pushed into the bed. The taste of his lips, all of him. Also something we couldn't do with Canis was kiss. So... He tilted his head, pecking me from my nose down to my neck. Then he flashed a bold smile. As your man, I'm the only one who gets to eat you. Can't lie, it feels pretty good. Don't worry. The scars I gave you are mine too. Now, I take responsibility. But responsibility or not, I won't ever let you out of my grasp. That meant, from now on, our lives are one, spent in secrets and whispers from our bed. Please go easy on me. What? Not a chance. You should know better than to try taming a wild beast. Katone, the light of my life. Your body, heart, and everything. belongs to me. Every drop of blood, down to your fingers. I won't let anyone else have any of it. Until the day I die, I promise to love every bit of you, savor you, even if it kills me. Better prepare yourself. With a passionate gaze, even with my cheeks a shade of wine, I returned a smile of surrender. You don't need to remind me. I won't run away. I want you, all of you, to consume my heart. No. They're gonna have little beast babies. It's the end. Finn! Now that was more steamy romance. Alright, are we gonna see something weird? I remember what happened last time. Oh, there it is. What is this? Is it the same as last time? Prologue 3.
When was it? When he came here? I believed it would be the same at first. That he would just die like the others had.
A new prologue is now unlocked. Okay. So that was something a little different. I wonder what's happening. I'm guessing it's like it has to count up to something. Whatever these things at the end are. Alright, so we are finished Ignis's route. Ignis's route was long. A lot longer than the other one we did. So as for the next one... I am very interested in Ill, but... after, like, what's transpired in this route, I kind of want to do Rindo's route, because I want to know what's going on in the GPM. Like... I feel like they're doing something that somehow influenced Ignis's route. Because, like, we don't know where the drugs came from. We don't know why these wormholes are just, like, popping up everywhere. Like, someone has to have been helping Dromie. So, I think I'm gonna save Ill's route for the 4th route we do. And I think we'll do Mr. Rindo next time. Alright, anyway, I need to catch my breath, get some water. I hope you guys had a fun time with this, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.